When you think of the Lord's phrase, "Love one another as I have loved you," he then adds the second sentence, "There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for a friend." From that phrase, "no greater love," has come a song, a service, a mass, so that none of us who have sung hymns have not heard "There is no greater love," the song, the hymn, the mass parts. And from it comes the phrase, "no greater gift." Today's lesson is giving of one's life, no greater gift. The example of doctors, nurses, priests, and those who give of themselves in service to the sick and to the community is a lesson we must take with us from these times. In the pain and tragedy of these last few months, there is an important fact that grabs our attention. This fact, while adding to our pain, is nonetheless a source of admiration and ultimately of comfort. It is the host of people who bear the consequences of the pandemic, even to death, because they have dedicated themselves generously and with all their strength to the service of others, both in body and spirit. It is only right to offer them a tribute of collective gratitude, which is certainly not only rhetorical, but absolutely sincere. Doctors, nurses, priests, volunteers. I will add here grocery workers, delivery drivers, and the drivers of mass transit. In the worst affected areas, large numbers of them have not only fallen ill themselves, but have given their lives. Across the world, thousands in each category have given their lives gladly in their service to their community, to their people. In this time of great suffering, some people know they are called by professional, religious, or personal vocation to put their lives at risk for others. If they do not shirk the risk, it is not on account of carelessness or recklessness, but rather a sense of duty, animated by love that is stronger than fear. On 11 September 2001, some 3,000 people died in the terrible attack on the Twin Towers and in Pennsylvania. More than 300 of them were firefighters engaged in rescue operations and 43 police officers. Their heroism was one of the most effective means of inspiring the citizens of New York in the moral and physical reconstruction that followed the devastation. And if the firefighters were the most exposed and most visible people, to them must be added the many police officers, the city garbage truck drivers, and the steel workers who volunteered immediately, coming to assist at the site, working tirelessly for weeks and months until the last scrap was removed, to pull all remains from that unholy place with total generosity, without wasting a moment thinking of themselves. Most, if not all of them, have since been diagnosed and are dying from the cancers caught off the pile, from the asbestos-laden smoke and debris-filled air. This is adding an additional 3,217 to the 9/11 death toll thus far. A great example, but we could go on for a long time. How many times during earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, and other major natural disasters have we witnessed wonderful moments of spontaneous, selfless solidarity that didn't stop to calculate the hardships or personal risks. So it is that in times of great suffering, we see there is also great love. A love that, if it is possible, is all ready to spend without counting the cost, even to the point of giving one's life. We are often surprised. We see people we have considered ordinary manifest a human and spiritual greatness that we did not realize, we did not even suspect they had. Perhaps they themselves didn't understand how much they could give until the pain of another showed up as a challenge and showed them what they could do when the call came. There is something very great and mysterious about this relationship between pain and love. It seems almost as if pain is the soil where love can often grow beyond our predictions and expectations, reaching peaks where reasoning and speech fail, revealing an intense fire that burns in the heart. We have often seen this in the dedication of spouses and people who love one another in the face of the most painful diseases. Then love becomes so intense and so great that it succeeds in transforming a story of atrocious suffering into a story of ever greater love. Suffering and death are thereby elevated in unexpected ways. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life, says Jesus. And he invites us to understand his passion in this light and to enter into the way of this love. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life is something that everyone can understand almost instinctively if they have not been completely dried up by selfishness. This pandemic is a time of great suffering, but a time of great love. The virus is contagious, but love can also be contagious. As they grow up, many of the children of the New York firefighters who died on 11 September wanted to become firefighters too, to imitate their fathers in a service where one is ready to give one's life for others. The example of doctors, nurses, priests, all those who are ready to give their lives in service to the sick, is one of the most important lessons that we must take away from these times. It is the precious soul of all the other lessons that we will try to learn. Without it, the others will be worth little.